Being in foster care for a child is like walking around with a big sign on your head that says, I'm unwanted and I'm unloved. I was kind of destined to be in foster care. Unfortunately, my mother was in foster care, her mother was in foster care. Prior to me being born, my older sister actually was already in foster care. And my earliest memories, everything was foster care. The lack of stability creates immense vulnerability for young people in the foster care system. You don't have consistency within your everyday household. This definitely makes young people more vulnerable for sex trafficking. The most consistent person that I had in my life was unfortunately my sex trafficker, because he's always had his doors open, always was willing to take my call, always was willing to be there for me. Every time I laid down with a man who was raping a child, and many times knew that I was a child, I not only took on his spirit, took on his infidelity, his dirt, his wife's trauma, his kids. I took all that into my body.
And it's like mentally, I know I'm in a safe space. I'm a child. I know this person. I know this space. I know this amazing guy. And I'm with you. But it's just like...
Young people normalize the idea of being used for financial gain because they're already going through that in foster care. And a lot of times you'll have these foster parents who don't really care, and they'll tell you, I don't care about what happens to you as long as I continue to get my check. And this is all about keeping somebody happy through payment. Somebody's gonna get paid one way or another, you know, and so this definitely makes young people more vulnerable for sex trafficking.
And a lot of times these kids aren't gonna be okay. Yeah. They're not. Yeah. You're gonna have to meet them where they're at, meaning like meet them where they're at in their moment of crisis, in their moment of like, I don't know what, you know what I mean? Like,
there's no such thing as a child prostitute. Because these are children that were manipulated, coerced, forced, and many times threatened with physical danger if they weren't doing what was told to be done. And these kids take this in, and they're children, and they're in development, and they're, you know, their brains aren't even fully developed, and they're taking all of this energy and all of this in.
And I just don't want a kid to be almost 30 years old and look at the stuff that I do. Nobody deserves that.
For me, I was 10 years old when I first was exploited, and I was in a place of transition, going from home to home. I can't say it enough how many foster homes had closed their door on me and said, no, we don't want you back. I stopped counting after 14 placements. When you move a child from home to home to home to home their whole life, it's no different than moving from hotel to hotel, motel, hotel. Moving placements is not an easy thing. It's a trauma. You don't see Amber Alerts or flyers for missing foster kids. What that means is the sex trafficker could continue to sell you without fear of prosecution or without fear that someone's gonna notice you, because they're not going to, because nobody's looking for you. So I met this woman, and she was the first woman to actually say, like, I'm gonna invest in your life. I don't care if you're in placement, not in placement, whatever's happening to you, I'm gonna invest in your life. And I was like, yeah, Because once I leave this foster home, literally today, not gonna hear from you. You're not even like worried about me, whatever. But this woman actually like maintained her word, and she actually showed up for me. So this woman actually like helped me get an ID, which really changed a lot for me, just like my ideology, my perspective, my internal self. She went through the training, and she actually became a CASA just to take me on. And that was one of the most amazing things that I think anybody has ever done. You know, I couldn't imagine my life to be where it is today. I wanted something different. I used to pray to God, either take me now or make a change. So I think it was that. I think it was this woman in my life that showed up out of nowhere and kept her word and wasn't a paid person and didn't have these systematic restraints on her. That's the power that CASA workers have. You can be that hope in the darkest and dimmest situations when nobody's actually listening to the youth. These are young people that don't have that one person, that one consistent person in their life. And you have the opportunity to be that first safe person in that young person's life. When you involve yourself in a child's life, you change everything.